Hi, I'm Anquinette Crosby, and welcome to County Report this week. Coming up in the next half hour, activists consider ways to combat climate change in the county. We have a report on the ideas they're suggesting. Plus, before teachers and students head to their classrooms, we're taking you on a tour of Rockville's new elementary school. And later, we give you a taste of what's cooking during Restaurant Week in Silver Spring. But first, Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service has been honored with a top industry award. The department was accredited by the Commission on Fire Accreditation International. This was for achieving the highest standards and service in our community. It recognizes the department as one of the world's best.
Each May, the Montgomery County Department of Parks hosts Family Archaeology Day. Organized by the Archaeology Division at Montgomery Parks, it allows visitors to go on a dig and examine artifacts, as well as meet historical reenactors, take tours, play games, and do crafts. Let's unearth the fun.
This is a chance for the archaeology program in Montgomery Parks to introduce the public to our archaeology in Montgomery County. We let people come in where they can try their hand at excavation. We have simulated sites where people learn the methods and techniques that archaeologists use, in all ages too, because we even have little buckets for the little guys to dig in, but also a senior simulated site where they're going to learn how to take soil colors and textures and learn how to measure and look for artifacts and record the artifacts.
Hello and welcome to this edition of One-on-One with Montgomery County Executive Mark Eldridge. I'm Lorna Virgili, and thank you for joining us. Mr. Eldridge, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine.
This is our first One-on-One, our inaugural show, so welcome on board, first and foremost. And first question, how have you been adapting to your new office, this new office?
I've been doing a lot of putting stuff away and trying to get a sense of pace. But I've had just a lot of people wanting to meet and inside the office, but no shortage of things outside, and trying to get a balance between what can I do right away and what kind of things are going to have to wait. You know, my impulse is to say yes to everybody to a meeting, and I'll meet with you as soon as possible. And I realize after a while, all the as soon as possibles are gone.
Did you know that Montgomery County, Maryland's Department of Environmental Protection offers a Green Business Certification program? More than 80 businesses, from IT companies to organic farms, are registered, proving they are committed to a healthier environment and a sustainable future. Here's more.
The Green Business Certification Program is a voluntary recognition program for businesses that go above and beyond in terms of greening their day-to-day operations.
You're watching In the Loop. I'm Crystal Park. Our guest today is Councilmember Nancy Navarro. Nancy, thanks so much for stopping by to chat with us today.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
Well, Nancy, you serve on the Education Committee, and you have been instrumental in the success of the Bell program. Could you tell us a little bit about what the program is and what are some of the tangible benefits that you've seen from the program so far?
Sure. You know, one of the issues that affect a lot of children, especially low-income children, is this notion of the summer slide, which basically means that once a student goes into the summer vacation, Especially low-income students are not necessarily exposed to a lot of enrichment activities, or perhaps, high-quality camps or things of that nature. And that usually really affects the retention of a lot of the instruction from the previous year. So then when that student starts school the next school year, they have noticed in the school systems this notion of loss of knowledge. And so then they start, really going backwards, if you will, in terms of their academic achievement.
Montgomery County, Maryland comprises approximately 500 square miles, ranging from urban areas like downtown Bethesda to historic rural communities like Bellsville. Did you know there are 540 farms in the county, including pick-your-own orchards, scenic wineries, and grass-fed cattle farms? For the last 29 years, the Montgomery County Office of Agriculture has hosted a farm tour where farms, historic sites, and parks open their barn doors to the public. Stay tuned to learn more about the Office of Agriculture and the 2018 Farm Tour and Harvest Sale.
Up next on The Bottom Line, a new era begins as a new Montgomery County Council and County Executive are sworn into office. 421 parks in 365 days. We go on the road with Planning Director Casey Anderson and Councilmember Craig Rice as this tour comes to a close.
We have a great park system, and now I can prove it.
And we'll introduce you to a Montgomery County police officer who left the NFL to serve his community.
My sister was hanging with the wrong people and got my house shot up.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Susan Kennedy. After a hectic election season, the 19th County Council and 8th County Executive were officially sworn into office December 3rd. And that very next day, the County Council elected new officers for the coming year. Truly a week of pomp and circumstance. Thanks for watching Council Wrap Up, a look at the top news of the Montgomery County Council for the month of November. Since 2002, the Street Smart program has worked to raise awareness about pedestrian and bicycle safety and highlight enforcement of the laws that protect people who are walking or biking. This month, a new effort to prevent pedestrian collisions was officially unveiled. It's a tragedy that happens all too often here in Montgomery County, pedestrian collisions.
The problem that we're dealing with.
In light of this, regional officials gathered in Silver Spring to kick off a new educational program that stresses safety on our roads.
We need people to be visible. Big trend in our crashes is people are not wearing reflective clothing, reflective gear.
It's a lifestyle that people want to be able to have, to take a walk to the corner store or to ride your bike with your family on a Saturday. Our driving culture is overly aggressive. People are always racing up to the next stop sign when they should just be stepping back.
The end of daylight savings time means an increase in the number of pedestrians injured or killed during the evening commute. Thanks for watching The Council in Brief. I'm Susan Kennedy. We're here with the latest news of the Montgomery County Council. Up first this week, the grand reopening of the White Oak Library. Great news for library lovers in the east part of Montgomery County. After being closed for nearly 1 year for a refresh project, the White Oak Library is back in business. And at the official ribbon cutting, there were plenty of officials and residents on hand to kick off this new chapter for this treasured community resource.
This is a very close-knit community, and this library obviously is a huge asset. But, you know, it really needed some TLC. I live very close by. My daughters would come here a lot. I would bring them over when my daughter was at White Oak Middle School, and always, you know, wondered what can we do to enhance this library. So in 2014, I actually asked, you know, in the HHS committee for us to incorporate this in the list to evaluate and see if it could be refreshed, and the executive included it in 2015.
When a library is closed for almost a year like this was, it feels like something's missing, but it's great that we had the resources to do the refresh project and to make it a much nicer and better library. So people are really going to appreciate it.
Lockdown alert. Repeat, this is a lockdown alert.
You have two jobs. You need to be sitting and you need to be silent. Please go do it now.
It's not that the schools are unsafe, it's that we want to provide a safe learning environment.
You don't need to be. You're doing a great job.
Welcome to A Closer Look. I'm Susan Kennedy. I'm standing here at Richard Montgomery High School in Rockville. Did you know that there's more than 160,000 students who go to school in Montgomery County, and each and every one of them deserves an environment that's safe where they can live, learn, and grow? However, recent events in Florida and Texas have people on edge and asking, are our schools safe?
Saludos y bienvenidos a esta cápsula informativa del Condado de Montgomery. Yo soy Lorna Virgilí y gracias por su sintonía. Hoy comenzamos el programa con el tema de la elección primaria del estado de Maryland que se efectúa el 26 de junio.
Y a partir de este momento, Montgomery al Día. Un programa presentado por el Condado de Montgomery con el objetivo de mantener a la población latina informada sobre todo lo que acontece en nuestro condado. Un espacio informativo para que usted obtenga acceso directo a los servicios de su gobierno local. Aquí da inicio Montgomery al Día. Queda con ustedes la presentadora de este programa y portavoz hispana del Condado de Montgomery, Lorna Virgilí.
Muy buenas tardes, queridos amigos. Bienvenidos una vez más a casa. Acá, Montgomery al Día, su programa oficial del gobierno del Condado de Montgomery.
Hello, I'm Austin Heyman. Welcome to Seniors Today, a monthly program produced by the Commission on Aging, devoted entirely to issues and interests of Montgomery County seniors. This month we learn about free legal aid for those over 60, and we find out about winter performances at Strathmore. But first we have the chance to discuss important prescription drug-related issues. My first guest is Dr. Jean Dinwiddie, a pharmacist an expert on medication management, as well as a member of the Montgomery County Commission on Aging. Welcome to Seniors Today.
Oh, thank you.
So many of us have so many prescriptions and sometimes over-the-counter items. The question is, how can we best manage all this?
Well, I would make sure that your pharmacist is involved in all of it and that you're going to the same pharmacy. My experience in getting older is that you just collect specialists. So they may be prescribing different medicines for you. If you go to the same pharmacy, that pharmacist will have the whole picture and discuss your over-the-counter medicines with them as well, the things you buy without a prescription, because they can interact with your prescription medicines.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Mosaic, an African American perspective. I'm your host, Deborah Milo. On today's show, we'll talk about Montgomery County's upcoming primary election, which takes place on June 26th. My guests today are from Montgomery County's Board of Elections. Jessica White is the Voter Services Manager, and Leslie Woods is the Election Worker Program Coordinator. Jessica and Leslie, thank you so much for joining me on today's show.
Thank you for having us.
Not a problem at all. It's good to see you again, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, before we get started, I always like to ask my guests a little bit about how they came to be in a public service career, but specifically yours is very interesting. I'll start with you. I'm curious as to how you got started, especially when the Board of Elections.
Well, I have to say that elections is typically not a career. People say, you know, when I'm 10, I want to be an elections administrator.
Right.
So I actually started out in human resources.
Deer are crepuscular. That means they're most active at dawn and dusk, especially in fall and winter. When driving, watch for eye shine by the sides of the road. Deer travel in groups. If you see one deer, there are probably more nearby. Drive slowly. Wear your seatbelt just in case you need to make a sudden stop. Stay in the center lane when driving on a multi-lane highway. Deer can be mesmerized by a car's lights. If a deer freezes up, flash your lights and tap your horn to move them along. Pay attention to caution signs. They're put in spots where deer gather. If you do hit a deer, don't panic. If someone is hurt, call emergency services. If no one is hurt, but something got damaged, call your local police. And don't forget to call your insurance company to report the accident. Careful driving saves lives, both yours and theirs. For more information, call 311.
Now we have a short but important item, which is to make an appointment of our new council administrator. And item 8 on the agenda, there's a resolution that simply stated appoints our new council administrator. Let's see. Well, Marlene Michelson is here in the front row with her husband, Tom. And Marlene, we are really thrilled to appoint you to this position. And you've made such a mark here at the council. Your very wise work and your very principled work on master plans has been noted and appreciated. It's one of our most controversial issues, and you're always such a steady hand and a real resource to the council staff and to the council. And that's what staff is when it is doing its best work. And we are really grateful that you are here and excited to be able to see you stepping into a new role in a new era going forward. So I will call for a motion to appoint our next council administrator.
Yes, Mr. President, I would like to move the resolution that formally would place Ms. Marlene Michelson as our nominee for council administrator. We have bid farewell to Mr. Farber, who's done an extraordinary job for all of us, and I have to say that personally, I've always been very impressed with Ms. Michelson's demeanor, intellect, and ability to strategically find solutions to many of our, continued challenges, both the ones that we can anticipate and those that just come up all of a sudden. And I do believe that, these are definitely big shoes to fill, but I think Ms. Michelson will do an extraordinary job. And I will also note, because it is important to me, that as we adopt this resolution for your appointment, you would be the first woman in this position, and I think that's also a very exciting historic fact for us as well. So with that, I nominate Ms. Marlene Michelson to be appointed.